Hello, you might be wondering why I'm standing out in the middle of a field by an oil well in southern Huntington County. If so, that would be a very good question indeed. And it's one question that I will attempt to answer here in just a few minutes. But before I do, I'd like to address a few issues about the class thus far. I'd like to remind everyone that when adding to the wiki to indicate which week you are submitting the information, it works great to type in your natural disaster, cite your source, type your name, and then add the week number of when you were submitting. Of course, you can always go back and edit previous wiki posts with this information as well. That's the beauty of going through this wiki together. Through the first 3 weeks of this course, I have been amazed at not only the sheer number of disasters that have occurred, but also the incredible damaging power of some of them as well. I also want to remind everyone to be sure to review the rubric for grading discussions. It is located in both the syllabus and in one of the news forums. As always, feel free to contact me if you have any questions at all regarding the class. Now on to this week's material. The topic of volcanoes has found its way back into the media spotlight recently because of the Icelandic volcano roaring back to life on May 21st. Fortunately, its ash cloud didn't affect Europe as much as the eruption did in 2010 that grounded thousands of European flights. You may recall from weeks 1 and 2 that the Earth's tectonic plates are constantly on the move. This results in earthquakes and volcanoes. Out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean is a huge crack in the Earth. In fact, it goes from close to the North Pole all the way down to almost to the South Pole. This crack is the result of tectonic plates moving apart in what is known as a divergent boundary. The resulting tectonic structure is called a mid-ocean ridge. The world's longest mountain chains are mid-ocean ridges. Now in the Icelandic volcano, we have two tectonic plates being pulled apart. The North American plate to the west and the Eurasian plate to the east. As these two plates pull apart, magma from deep inside the Earth migrates to the top, creating volcanoes. As we have seen, this process is capable of affecting millions of people around the globe. Now, what does all this have to do with oil wells in Huntington County? The answer actually might surprise you. The closest active volcano to our region right now is more than 1,200 miles to our west. The Yellowstone Plateau volcanic field saw its last lava flows about 70,000 years ago, but is currently active as one of the world's largest hydrothermal systems. This doesn't mean that the Midwest was never volcanically active, however. Although geologists believe that the Midwest has been stable for about 500,000 years, there is evidence of volcanoes and tectonic movement below us. Under me, approximately 3,000 feet, is a structure called a craton. This was formed long ago when several small continents were on the move and collided together. There was so much pressure pushing them together that they became permanently welded together in what we call a craton. This structure makes up what geologists call the basement. This structure consequently controls the overlying rock structure, some of which contains oil and gas. In addition, though only about 20 holes have ever been drilled into the basement, we do have evidence of volcanic ash layers deep in our lithosphere. So, as you can see, although the Midwest is experiencing a relatively quiet time period now, it hasn't always been that way. This week, we're going to be examining some locations that are volcanically active. By studying these eruptions, we'll be able to see what conditions determine how explosive a volcano is and what tectonic processes allow for a region to be volcanically active. Characteristics such as the 3 V's, viscosity, volatiles, and volume, give us tremendous insight into the nature of these sometimes deadly natural disasters. Once we have this knowledge of volcanoes, we'll be examining what scientists and planners do with this knowledge. Do we spend time and resources trying to predict eruptions? Do we evacuate people living at the foot of the disaster with a risk of crying wolf? Do we encourage industries that exploit the numerous benefits of volcanoes to locate in high-risk areas? These are just a few of the questions that we will attempt to tackle this week. I think you will find the videos and online explorations quite interesting. In addition, you will have the opportunity to learn about the characteristics of volcanoes by exploding a virtual volcano. In this activity, you will be at the controls as you decide the variables needed to create a variety of different eruptions. Well, there's a lot of information to learn this week. I hope you're excited as I am to get started.